Hey everyone, I'm John Forsey, and today we're taking a look at Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, a game for two players designed by Bruno Cathala and Antoine Bauza, published by Repos Productions. Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth has players taking on the side of either the Fellowship or Sauron as they build out a tableau of cards trying to either complete the quest for the ring, gain alliances of the races of Middle-earth, or even just straight up conquer Middle-earth. But before we get into the specifics of each of those, let's head on over to the table and set up for a game of Lord of the Rings, A Duel for Middle-earth. All right, we're setting up here for a game of Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. We've got Sauron and his units on this side, the Fellowship on this side of the table. We've already got the starting units placed in Arnor and Mordor for the Fellowship and Sauron. We've also got the Chapter 1 display set up. After you get this set up, you will have 3 cards left over. Those will just go to a discard pile. You won't be using them in this game. The Fellowship units start with 3 coins. Sauron starts with 2 coins. Got the Quest for the Ring track set up down here with the Nazgul starting at the very end space. We have our Alliance tokens set up here in stacks of 3. The Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 cards are off to the side, which we'll be using in later rounds. We've got our starting landmark tiles flipped over with the rest of them to form a deck that we'll be going throughout the game. Throughout the game, each player is going to take turns either drafting the chapter cards or claiming one of the landmark tiles until one of 3 objectives is met. Either the quest for the ring is completed, Middle-earth has been conquered, or you've gained the alliance of 6 of the races of Middle-earth. If on your turn you want to take one of the chapter cards that are in front of you, you have 2 options you can do. One of them is to discard the card and gain money. Depending on which chapter you're in, you'll gain a different amount of coins. For chapter 1, you're going to get 1 coin. Chapter 2, you'll get 2 coins. And chapter 3, you'll get 3 coins if you choose to discard a card. The second option would be to take the card and play it in front of you, in front of your own tableau. And in order to do that, some of the cards are going to have a cost, which is in the center area of the card here, which just means you have to have that card in front of you or be able to pay for it to add that card to your tableau. Most of the cards in Chapter 1 look like they're going to be free. And then when you do gain a card, you'll gain the benefit that's in this top center area when you add it to your tableau. And some of them are going to give you discounts towards cards in the future or ways to gain those cards instantly. The different color cards also give you an idea of what they're going to be giving you. So the yellow cards are just going to give you coins to add to your supply. These blue cards with the ring on them are going to allow you to move down the Quest of the Ring track. If you take those as an alliance player, you're going to slide this whole display down based on the number of rings you gain. If you take this as Sauron, you're going to get to move the Nazgul 1 or 2 spaces depending on how many rings are on the card that you take. The gray cards are going to give you skills, which are used towards the landmark cards up here, or for additional cards that you'll see come out into play, such as the crown here, which is the leadership symbol. So taking this card is going to give you a ruse, taking this is going to give you courage, and you'll see more of those as we reveal more cards throughout the game. And then these red cards are typically going to let you place units out onto the map. And you'll see the number in the middle is how many of your units you can place, and then the flag represents where on the map you'll be able to place them. The green cards represent you trying to form an alliance with each race of Middle-earth, and you're trying to collect as many of these as you can. And if you were to collect 2 of the same one, so if I had 2 of the dwarf hammers, I would be able to look at the top 2 tokens of their stack, reveal them, pick one to take as a bonus, and put the other one back. So this one gives me another turn. This one lets me ignore the cost, part of the cost of building one of the landmarks. You can also collect 3 different tokens. So if I had the dwarves, the elves, and the horn over here, I'd be able to look at the top token of each of those stacks and do the same thing. Keep one of them as a bonus, put the remaining back on top of the stack. As players start collecting the chapter cards, they'll be exposing cards below them. If they're upside down or flipped over, you're going to flip them so they're face up. And now this card becomes available for somebody to take and add into their tableau. On your turn, you can also acquire one of the landmark tiles that are face up. In order to do that, you have to pay the cost that's listed in this middle section here. Most of these symbols are what you're going to gain from the gray cards you collect throughout the game. This first symbol here, this gold coin with the tower in the middle, that's an additional cost you have to pay. So you pay 1 coin for each tower you already have out on the map of Middle Earth, which means your first tower is going to be free, and then after that is going to keep increasing by 1. Then you would gain the landmark tile itself, as well as the bonus that's printed across the bottom here. They're all going to allow you to place one of your towers on the map somewhere, and then possibly some additional bonuses. So this one's going to let me place a tower here in Gondor, as well as a unit, which is going to cause combat to happen. And then I also get to move twice on the ring track. So we'll go 1, 2. And then you notice here I've moved on to one of the bonus spaces, so that's going to give me a coin for landing on that space. Down here in Gondor, where we just placed our fellowship unit, that causes a conflict to occur. And with conflicts, if you're placing your units in spaces that already have an enemy unit, you keep removing units until only one person is left in that space. So in this case, we're both going to be removing 1 unit. It is important to note that the towers themselves don't cause conflicts. It's only when you're placing units in the same space. All right, so this is the setup for Chapter 2, very similar to Chapter 1, just the pyramid is inverted. And the only new thing to bring into Chapter 1 is what's referred to as chaining, which is kind of like getting cards for free. So in Chapter 2, you'll see the normal cost here in the middle, but in the left corner here, you'll see on some of the cards, there's special symbols. So this one has this helmet on it. And if you had acquired this card in Chapter 1 with the matching helmet, you would be able to take this card without paying the cost that's in the middle. Each different color kind of has its own different symbols to look for, and you may not see these come up in Chapter 1 at all, just depending on how your pyramid layout is and which cards are purchased. But that's kind of a way to get cards that are a lot cheaper, where you don't need as many of the icons as you would normally need. And this is what our setup looks like for Chapter 3. So along with the chaining symbols carrying over from Chapter 2, you're now going to see these maneuver cards, which are the purple bordered cards. And they're going to have these arrow symbols, which are going to let you maneuver or move units on the map of Middle Earth. So if I were playing as Sauron and I were to get this card by the end of the game, that's going to let me do 3 movement. And you can do it as 3 individual movements, or you can move 1 unit 3 times. It's up to you how you want to split that up. But you do have to complete each unit or each movement before proceeding to the next one. So I could, for example, go 1, 2, 3, and then I would resolve this conflict, and those would be my 3 movements. End of a turn, but one of the 3 main victory conditions are met. If Sam and Frodo make it to Mount Doom and destroy the One Ring, the Fellowship is declared the winner. If the Nazgul catch up to Sam and Frodo, Sauron is declared the winner. If either player has 6 different race symbols among the green cards within their tableau that gain the support of the races and are declared the winner, or if either player has presence in the 7 different areas of the map, whether it be a fortress or a unit, they've conquered Middle Earth and are declared the winner. If none of the main victory conditions are met by the end of the 3rd chapter, you'll check the map to see who has the most presence on the map, again, whether it be a fortress or a unit, and they're declared the winner. And if there's still a tie after that, the players share the victory. Thanks so much for hanging out during this video of Lord of the Rings, A Duel for Middle Earth. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative. Hit the like and subscribe button so that you can be notified of any future videos that are sent out. And until next time, happy gaming.